no justice.
No live fact-checking.
Just vibes. This is Vibes Only, a podcast that checks the vibes of American politics every week. And the vibes this week.
I won't say a full-fledged panic, but it's getting there.
We'll talk about the very controversial debate performance by Joe Biden and the reaction to it from the pundits and donors and voters who are going to decide this election.
Also,
today, the Supreme Court cut that heart and soul out of America, holding that the former president is immune from prosecution for any of his actions.
we'll talk about how SCOTUS dropped a bomb in its season finale and how it has seriously upped the stakes of the 2024 election.
We will, of course, play an It's Giving, pull up our group chat, and leave you with a much-needed good vibe. Let's get into it. Where do we begin? Where do we even start?
So many places to start.
No, there's one place to start, and I don't want to do it.
Well, no, there's so many places to start within that one topic of the debate. I will say one was obviously extremely stressed out watching the debate, but it didn't help. I mean, I love all of my friends and everyone texting me in the middle of the debate or within the first 10 minutes being like, oh God, what are we going to do? Oh my God, is this correct? What's going on? And I'm like, I have to process myself. Okay. I can't give the emotional labor to all of you just yet, even though it is my actual job. But I couldn't do it.
Yeah, the debate last Thursday was heartbreaking. The vibes are very bad. We just have to acknowledge, I'm glad that we have this space and we can sort of commiserate. The vibes are very bad. And there are a lot of really scary things going on. And I think the debate just compounded a lot of that.
Yeah.
And so I obviously want to talk about Biden's performance, what that means for the 2024 race. We have to get into all the SCOTUS rulings and because that plays a role in this as well.
Yeah. What a week. Literally not even a week. What a Thursday to Tuesday.
RIP Pride. Hello, it's New York City Pride.
No, but don't you think it was good? I was at VidCon and I was saying earlier, it was good to be reminded that not everyone's orbit revolves around United States politics. So I feel like Pride must have been a nice little, hopefully.
It was. That's true. Yes, there was some reprieve. It's always good to find sort of relief and strength in community. And I definitely got to sort of be with my people, which was a rejuvenating, energizing sort of experience at a very difficult time.
Well, let's get into it.
Let's have to start with, everyone has seen it. Either you watched the debate or you saw clips. There's no sugarcoating how bad it really was. I think that for me, and what has driven my reaction since, is this split screen between people reacting saying it's just a bad night, it's 90 minutes, you have to weigh that against an entire term as president, all of these things, versus the camp that I'm falling into, which is not only are singular moments oftentimes defining in politics.
Give an example there.
Yeah, I reference basket of deplorables or the or binders of women. Exactly. Lots of times very a single misstep by a candidate can change the direction of an entire race. But I think that this is more than that. I don't think it was a singular moment. I think that it was a lot of people saw it as a revelation. We don't get to see Biden unscripted ever. And so to see him for the first time in many months, if not over a year, to be fully unscripted and have it go so poorly, I think is what caused this 5-alarm fire that I don't see as bedwetting or overreaction.
Right. Yeah, I saw your Instagram post. I kind of noodled in the hours after the debate of what can I control in this situation? What can I do? The bar was literally on the floor, and unfortunately we were unable to get anywhere past there.
Roll over it.
To roll over it, slightly push it over. And I still am at times speechless because it was just so bad and really heartbreaking. Joe Biden is a good man who has done amazing things for this country. His presidential term to date has been the most progressive. He's suffered immeasurable tragedy in his life. And I'm watching that and I'm thinking of that human being and how he's being put on this national stage at a point where it might be the only time people see him this election cycle. I don't recall the viewership, but it was extremely high.
I can chime in. Over 50 million watched live on just TV, not including digital streaming platforms. And then there were an additional 450 plus million impressions on social.
Yeah, insane numbers. And I was sitting there thinking, is this what you want your legacy to be? And not to say that one moment is your legacy, but he was up there being bullied by Donald Trump. And that is the real risk now, right? Because we have to move forward in the next 4 months and try to do everything we can collectively as a progressive movement to make sure Donald Trump is not reelected. And we as strategists are looking at, do we have the best player on the field to accomplish that?
Yeah, I've made no secret that Biden was not my pick in 2020, and I would have preferred him not to run in 2024. I've said that the entire time. But once he said he was going to run, I have been supportive.
Right.
And I thought that was the most strategic thing. Incumbency advantage is real. Having a competitive primary against a sitting president is a nightmare scenario. Yeah. And I think that the calculus is changing, if not has been sort of irreversibly altered. And that is what drove me to share some thoughts that I think potentially replacing Biden at the top of the ticket would be a more strategic path forward, which
I read
lots of people disagreed with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm controlling what I can control, and I'm joking with friends and family. Well, it's above my pay grade. That decision is above my pay grade. Other people are deciding that, and I will do what I can do in my capacity. And I think everyone needs to buckle back in and agree with me in this way, especially when we're looking at what's happening with the Supreme Court, especially with the immunity ruling. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure Donald Trump is not elected.
Absolutely.
Whatever that looks like.
And the bottom line is, once the convention hits and somebody is locked in, whether that's Biden or somebody else, then the stakes are set. And it is what it is. And we're going to move forward. Of course, I'm going to organize and fundraise for and knock on doors for and vote for the nominee against Trump and against the dangerous anti-democratic movement around him. There's no question about any of that. But there is a question that needs to be settled in the interim about what our best path forward is against those anti-democratic forces. Speaking of, Trump was also at the debate. We can forgive you for not knowing that because we've hardly discussed it since, because the spotlight has been on Biden. But Trump was also
with that. I struggled with like the MSNBC pundits immediately going in on him right after the debate, saying everyone's texting me. There was a funny viral TikTok clip that I saw that a comedian did of like every pundit saying, well, so-and-so just texted me, or unnamed senator just texted me, or unnamed Democratic strategist just texted me that this is really serious. Where like, no matter what, Republicans, they fall in line. They do not care. They will get that candidate elected no matter what they're saying. And that candidate for them is Donald Trump. And he was spewing lies. While Joe Biden was confirming the thesis that he is in fact an old man in real time for all of us, Donald Trump was full of shit. And I don't know really what the live fact-checking or fact-checking role of moderators are or should have been, but I was disappointed that Donald Trump was able to continuously steamroll with lies and there was no accountability. If you don't know what's going on, you're just going to hear what he's saying and think it's correct and true, even if it's wildly absurd. So I did take issue with just the format in general. Again, above my pay grade, like not my job to decide and agree to that, but clearly it did not work. And I don't think it served the American people either to not have any live fact checking.
It was very much the Spider-Man meme between Biden and the moderators pointing at each other. Saying, like, that's your job.
Let's go through some of the lies. He blamed January 6th on Nancy Pelosi. On abortion, he repeated the lie that Democrats want to kill the baby. He said something that was truly unhinged. He said, this is a quote, "They will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, even after birth. After birth.
He's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby.
And unfortunately, Biden was kind of served a rebuttal on a silver platter. The one thing I was like, we got this. And we did not. He also, this is super frustrating. He took credit for lowering insulin costs for seniors, which was part of the Inflation Reduction Act. It was not a Donald Trump thing.
Yeah, truly the lies never stopped the entire time Trump had his mouth open. And there were also things that he didn't lie about that were just as concerning. Things like him saying that he wouldn't accept the results of the election again, sowing additional seeds of doubt about one of the most fundamental pillars of our democracy, and sort of his embrace of Project 2025 as a whole, and this idea of unlimited executive power that was also bolstered by recent rulings by the Supreme Court, which we will get into. But top to bottom, what Trump said was filled with lies and disinformation and should make people extremely concerned about the stakes of November's election.
Totally. I was laughing with a friend post debate because as millennials, and I've said this before on the pod, like, can we just have a precedented time? Like, it is unprecedented that a debate happens this early in the presidential cycle with the goal of kind of quieting major concerns about a candidate's age, to then have those concerns only be, amplified by said candidate's performance. I just want to acknowledge for the Vibes Only audience, like, ooh, it is like every day there is something new that we have to shoulder. And I get why some people are not engaged. I'll say that much.
Yeah, it is always a reminder that the whole election could end up being defined by something that hasn't even happened yet, right?
Totally. Such a good point, right? Like every day's a new day.
Right. All we can do is focus on what's in front of us, make the best decisions with the information that we have, and take actual action to avert a worst case scenario, which at this point in time would be a Republican trifecta in Washington that can use the new and dangerous powers granted to them to eviscerate the fundamental pillars of our democracy.
Let's get into some of those because SCOTUS had a busy few days. And they fully have upped the ante.
All I can say is thank God the term is over, because I cannot take any more decision days. Actually, my heart cannot take it.
And it was just bus, club, another club, another club. It was like debate, decision. Wow, right. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's getting worse.
We hit every railing on the way down kind of vibe. So there were decision days last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and on Monday. We are now done with the Supreme Court term. So we have all the decisions that we're going to get. I think the two big ones that we need to talk about, although there are others worth diving into, are the immunity case and the case on Chevron deference, both of which we covered in our Supreme Court special episode. And I think on Chevron, it's essentially what we expected. And on immunity, it's even worse than we expected.
I'm seeing more chatter, which I was actually quite happy with. A lot of digital chatter on Chevron, which was nice to see because it is a very wonky case. But, I think I saw someone put it quite well where they're basically do you want poop in your water? Because now, experts are not the ones who are going to be deciding that necessarily.
Right. Basically, Chevron deference, which has been the jurisprudence, the legal standard for over 40 years, has been completely overturned in a decision that is on par with the Dobbs ruling in its gravity of how deeply this will affect the federal government and therefore all of us. The elimination of Chevron deference means that the courts will no longer defer to federal agencies in how regulations are interpreted and implemented. That means things like clean air regulation, clean water regulation, what goes into our food, how drugs are approved, everything. All of those things require scientists and experts at these regulatory agencies to issue guidance on what makes us all safe and not safe. And now every corporation with their giant army of lawyers can sue.
And lobbyists.
and lobbyists can sue under every one of those regulations to get them rolled back. And the default will no longer be that the agency has some sort of expertise in its application. And so essentially what they have done is unleash this unprecedented wave of litigation against the government. And everyone hates the word regulation, but like the regulations that are really important.
Yeah, like forever chemicals.
Right.
The list goes on. It's very, very shocking. So let's keep going because the immunity is important. And then, Chevron is important also when we think about Project 2025 and what Donald Trump wants to do with putting in tens of thousands of pre-vetted Trump loyalists into all of these federal agencies. It's like, do you want a Trump loyalist deciding about your forever chemicals? Or do you want a scientist who understands like particles? So let's talk about immunity. This was a 6-3 decision that said the president is immune for official acts that she performs during their term. Not immune for personal private acts, but defining those is going to be extremely difficult per oral arguments.
No court thus far has tried to differentiate between what is official and unofficial.
Right.
And so giving absolute immunity for official acts and no immunity for unofficial acts, but without defining what either of those are. And very importantly, specifically saying that the intent behind the official act does not matter and cannot be questioned. And so some of the examples that I've seen so far are if a president was paid $1 billion to pardon someone, they could not be prosecuted for that after leaving office because it was an official act. Pardoning someone is part of the president's constitutional powers. So regardless of why they did that, even if they accepted what is being described as a bribe to do that, they could not be prosecuted for that bribery because the official act gave them the absolute immunity. The example that everyone's using is the example that came up in oral arguments, which was, can the president order the assassination of a political opponent? The president, in his official duties, has authority over SEAL Team 6. And if we cannot question why, if the intent is not up for fair game, then it would be an official act to use that power to order SEAL Team 6 to kill someone.
So just to take a step back, intent is not being examined in all of these official acts.
Correct. That is specifically what the Supreme Court justices are saying and what the dissenters, Sotomayor, Kagan, Ketanji Brown Jackson, are pointing out can lead to the president becoming a king, essentially.
Right. Sotomayor wrote in her dissent, this is an actual quote, even if these nightmare scenarios never play out, and I pray they never do, the damage has been done. The relationship between the president and the people he serves has shifted irrevocably. In every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. Like, hold for shock. I'm deeply uncomfortable with it. Again, you mentioned this, they used the Navy SEAL Team 6 assassinate a political rival, which was used in oral arguments, organize a military coup to hold on to power, immune. This is all in her dissent. Take a bribe in exchange for a pardon, immune. Immune.
So the Supreme Court is kind of taking this tact that it's our responsibility, that it's like up to voters to keep somebody out who would abuse the office in these ways that we're sort of describing.
It's like Donald Trump lost the popular vote. We tried. Right. We tried.
And then you look at sort of the inherent biases in the system, like the Electoral College, and you look at Trump's very real, sustained and targeted efforts to overturn the results of the election in 2020. And it's not difficult at all to see how someone right now could scam their way into it and then become a despot with no fear of accountability after leaving office. It is truly a shocking ruling.
I'm seeing a lot of discourse online about like, okay, Joe Biden, let's go. Like you have these powers now. Let's do it. Let's expand the court. Let's do X, Y, and Z. And like, I hold back and I don't talk about it that much because I don't want us to morph into Republicans and play an unfair, undemocratic game. But at a certain point, you just have to say, what are we doing? How do we move forward in a way that like is actually going to protect American interests and not just the interests of Donald Trump and his fan base.
That's how things deteriorate further, right? Is
Totally.
like you become the thing that you fear. That's like out of a fucking Batman movie or something. But you become the thing that you hate because of your fear.
Right.
And now's the moment where we need people who are more committed than ever to our democracy and who are willing to do the extremely difficult work of righting the wrongs and making the system work for people when it's clearly at this moment delivering anything but that.
Yeah, and we talk about like some of the electorate having like Trumpnesia, not remembering what it was like when Donald Trump was presidency. This is it, baby. These are his justices. And by the way, if he gets elected again, he's probably going to get 2 more. So if Joe Biden is not your guy and you're not excited by him for clear reasons, I'm not going to judge you or blame you for that. But this election really is about so much more than one singular man, including, you know, the Supreme Court. I saw a really funny photo that was like, when you vote in November, you're voting to replace this guy, Clarence Thomas. And I'm like, I need to just pin that to my Instagram page to remind everyone. It's about that too.
So true.
It's giving.
It's giving.
Okay, Brian, it's giving. This week, we have some receipts from some Supreme Court justices who were not so honest during their job interviews.
No one's above the law in the United States. That's a foundational principle that I've talked about. The foundation of our Constitution was that, as Hamilton explained in Federalist 69, the presidency would not be a monarchy, and it specified all the ways that under the Constitution, the president is not above the law.
I believe that no one is above the law under our system, and that includes the president. The president is fully bound by the law, the Constitution, and statutes.
It's giving you lie. Play the clip of them yelling "you lie" at Barack Obama.
It's not true.
Oh,
during his State of the Union. Yeah, it's giving sleeper agent.
Yeah, it's giving PSYOP. It's like, you fully lied. Also, like, Kavanaugh with his little, like, pocket constitution or whatever he had in his hand. Like, you're so full of shit. It's giving full of shit. It's also just so frustrating. You're lying. You are 2 men, ass in seat, lying.
It's actually giving in Friends when Joey lies on his resume and says that he speaks French and can ride horses and knows ballet and all these things. It's like just saying anything in the job interview to get the job. And then you get there on your first day and you're like, what do I do?
Yeah, I wonder, like, I look at those clips and I wonder, did they actually believe what they were saying at that time? And they've just been so corrupted and so, like, worms for brains that they now, you know, ruled the way they did. There's no point in, like, overanalyzing the situation because the reality is what the reality is, but they gross me out.
Agreed. I feel like John Roberts, you can sort of see his drift over time in decisions, but Kavanaugh from the outset, like, he was...
Oh, what a loser.
Yeah.
Literally,
he was a mole.
what a loser.
He was handpicked.
Yeah, handpicked.
Wow. Name literally one thing in your group chat that was not a Supreme Court decision or the debate.
Okay, I have a great thing.
Tell me.
I was in California for VidCon.
Yes.
As everyone knows, which was great. And Jacob, a Vibes Only listener, messaged me being like, hey, I work at Disneyland. I can sign you in. So let me tell you, there is no better way to snap out of a bad presidential debate than going to Disneyland.
You went?
Yes, I went. I hung out with Jacob. I went with my colleague, Maddie. We had a great time. Although I will say, I didn't know Space Mountain was a roller coaster. So I got on it and then I was like, whoa. I mean, it was really fun. And then I went to the bathroom and, like, little kids were, like, blowing chunks. I was like, this is Disney. Anyway, it just was great. Thank you, Jacob.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
But it was like a nice, like, you know, I was so doom and gloom and so overwhelmed. The vibes were bad. And let me tell you, even with, like, a super crowded, crazy park, Disney has good vibes.
Yeah. Disney's like straight people pride. That's like your pride.
Well, I wouldn't say that's I'm not a Disney adult.
Yeah, but, like, it's kind of the same. It's the same vibe. Like, you're, like, in a different universe detached from the traumas of your everyday life.
Basically. What was going on in your group chat?
I was in DC at the White House for Pride. And then more Pride, and then other Pride. And then
what happened with the parade? I heard because I got super delayed. Like my flight was like bonkers, and people were like, it's raining in New York. Did the parade get rained out?
No, I saw the parade from afar, but I still saw it. And I also saw O'Mary for the second time this weekend.
I'm dying to see O'Mary.
Literally, vibes only community. Buy a flight to New York right this minute and go see O'Mary on Broadway. It's absolutely incredible. Cola Scola is a comedic genius. If anything could lift my spirits out of this doom and gloom of the Supreme Court and debate nonsense, it was that. And it was incredible. It was so good.
I'm dying to see it. I'm going to add it to my list. Oh, Brian, I have exciting news that I'm breaking here to you and to the Vibes Only listeners, because we need your help. We need your help. Vote for us.
Vibes we love a shameless plug.
Oh, first of all, did you ever run for office in high school or middle school or anything?
Baby, you already know that I was president. You already know.
Okay, you were?
Yes.
Okay, this is actually perfect for our relationship and for Vibes Only. I ran for class historian and I lost in a landslide. And my slogan was, don't be a menace, vote for Glennis.
Oh, so my God.
I think when you are like demonizing your electorate by calling them menaces, you're not going to win.
Oh, anyway, I was going to say, I think Biden should snag that right now.
No, it has to rhyme. Don't be a menace. Vote for Biden.
Yeah, we'll just put you in at the top of the ticket.
Okay, there we go. Goodbye, Supreme Court. I'm going for president. Just old enough, I might add. Just old enough to be president.
Eked it out. Tell them who we're voting for.
Vibes Only, you're voting for us. Vibes Only, we're up for a podcast award. Go to podcastawards.com and you can vote for us in the news and politics category and the people's choice category. So the link is going to be in our show notes. So head to the link and vote for us, please.
Fierce drag Jules.
Did you see Steve Bannon's going to prison?
I did see Steve Bannon's going to federal prison. Sayonara.
But did you see the press conference? I was a little shooketh.
I did not.
Okay, so the CEO of Blackwater is a defense contractor that the government has, gets like, I'm using air quotes, supplies from, and bodies like, war bodies for people to go do private security. The CEO of that was with Bannon at the press conference and said, you better treat him well in there because we're going to be outside.
That's spooky boots.
It's dark-sided stuff. Dark-sided stuff. Steve Bannon, good luck. Learn a thing or two.
He'll be the first one to go from federal prison to White House chief of staff.
Literally.
If Trump wins.
I wonder if he'll get reverse radicalized in a way in prison.
I would not count on it. I'm so sorry.
I'm too much of a hopeful person. Maybe he'll learn a thing or two.
Our group chat also is filled with very cute pictures of us and Emily Amick at the launch of her book.
Oh my God, yes. Brian and I, before Brian, you went to DC and I went to VidCon, we had an exciting book event for our friend Emily Amick. Her new book is coming out soon. She wrote it with Sammy Sage, who's the co-founder of Betches Media, also the co-host of American Fever Dream with V Spear. New book, check it out. It's good. It's very readable. Very readable.
Yeah, and I took the personality quiz to figure out what type of Politico.
Oh, I haven't done that yet because it required addition, and I couldn't do that.
And in our Vibes Only group chat, we got plenty of thoughts on the debate sent in. Definitely some people who were worried about any efforts to try to swap Biden at the top of the ticket, which I understand, even if I disagree. And also some love for the Instagram that I shared on Friday and sort of a push for perhaps a different strategy to save democracy in November.
Okay, Brian, we have a good vibe about a ballot prop happening in Nevada. When Roe v. Wade was overturned, it was a constitutional right that was ended. So now states are looking to codify those rights in the state constitution.
That's exactly right. And we just got confirmation in Nevada that they have officially qualified for November's ballot, meaning Nevadans will be able to codify their constitutional right to reproductive rights and bodily autonomy in the state of Nevada. And so super exciting because they are joining Colorado, Florida, Maryland, New York, and South Dakota, who all also have ballot measures coming up this year. And there are more potentially on the way because the deadline for petitions has not closed yet. This is a very important path for us to pursue direct democracy in order to protect the reproductive rights of as many people as possible.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. No matter what happens at the top of the ticket, gotta stay engaged, gotta keep fighting, stick it out, and we will win in November.
Period.
Those are all the vibes this week. We know it's an uncertain time, but it's not time to fold. Hang in there and make sure you're doing what you can to protect our democracy and fully participate in this election. It is critically important. On a lighter note, don't forget to vote for Vibes Only as your favorite podcast in the political and news category and the People's Choice category at podcastawards.com. We'll drop a link in the show notes. Thank you so much for your votes. We'll catch you next week.
Vibes Only is a production of Courier, a civic media company that protects and strengthens our democracy through credible, fact-based journalism and seeks to create a more informed, engaged, and representative America. Vibes Only is produced by Devin Maroney with support from Courier's Kyle Tharp, R.C. DeMezzo, and Daniel Strasburger. Tara McGowan is founder and publisher of Courier.